weekend.
Here's what the best of the best.
We all want this race.
$30,000 payday would be unbelievable.
To bring it home a second time in front of the world, in front of the CBS cameras, you just be probably one of the greatest feats in our racing career.
Just outside of Kansas City in Missouri is a small town called Wheatland, and it's home of one of the most beautiful racetracks in the country. It's also home of the Show Me 100. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 20th annual DART Show Me 100, presented by ProtectTheHarvest.com. Hello, I'm Ken Stout, and Rob Klepper will join me here as we bring you one of our crown jewel events. And when we talk about a crown jewel event, there's about 5 of them a year that the dirt late model competitors will campaign in. This one pays $30,000. It's a big one.
It's certainly a big one. You look at the crown jewel events, NASCAR with Daytona, Indianapolis, of course, for the Indy cars. But in dirt late models, the Show Me 100 is one of the biggest events. You have the Dream, you have the World 100, the Dirt Track World Championships, 55 drivers from all over the country coming to this little town in Wheatland to chase $30,000 to win. Doesn't get much bigger than that.
We've had 16 races already completed so far this season on the tour, and we should tell you that our points leader, once again, is the reigning champion. That is Jimmy Owens, but it took him 16 races to pick up his first win on the season. Now, heat races, those all happened one day ago at this 2-day event, and we should tell you that the top 3 in the points all won their heat races. Of course, we're talking about Jimmy Owens, also Scott Bloomquist, Don O'Neill, who's been smoking hot, and then Billy Moyer, a 3-time Show Me 100, also picked up the win in his heat race. Now, when you take a look at one of these dirt late models, you might think, that's just a grassroots-style old race car. Well, you better think again. They are absolutely some of the most sophisticated racing machines on the planet. And with more on that, let's send it over to our previous series Rookie of the Year, John Blankenship, to tell us something about these cars.
All right, so one of the first things you'll notice when you see a dirt late model is how different the nose looks than all other race cars out there. These front fenders we call floppers, and they're pushed up on the edges on both sides, and the theory behind that is to keep the air trapped onto the nose. Also, you'll notice the front of the nose is not level with the ground when we're rolling through the pits, and when we get on the racetrack, it pushes down against the racetrack and makes it flat and keeps the air from going underneath the car. Then once you keep the air trapped on the nose, it'll come over here onto the deck, and then it follows the deck all the way back to the spoiler. We keep the door flat. It's kind of like a billboard. It traps the air, and we put these pieces of plastic under it so they can drag the racetrack, and it keeps any air from getting underneath at all. And so anyway, the air finally comes back here, and this is where all the downforce on the rear is produced.
Thanks a lot, John. An interesting look at the cars that will be racing here tonight. Now let's talk about the surface they'll be racing on, because this place is tacky and it is blistering fast.
Yeah, I think the term we use in the pit area, folks, is bad fast. 2 and 3 grooves of racing, very tacky. They put a lot of water, it's a lot of moisture on this track, which is going to throw kind of a curveball for the first 40 or 50 laps of this race, how these guys prepare their cars for the last half to try and win this crown jewel event.
And the big boss is in the house. He buzzed the tower a little bit earlier, and he's looking forward to a great race. All right, let's get you caught up on a few more of the stories here from our 2 great pit reporters, and we'll start off with Dave Argerbright.
Thanks, guys. You know, Scott Bloomquist, you were hoping to draw that 1 that was in that bucket, but now you start 4th. This is an all-new surface here we're racing on. Is it difficult to figure this place out now?
We just had a conversation. I said it to Don O'Neill and then to Billy. I said, this has got to be the goofiest place I've ever been for trying to get something to be consistent or to try to get dialed in for. And just every time you go on the racetrack, you're getting different feedback. And, everyone's counting on the track going away. And, again, after hot laps right then, I think the only thing I didn't change was my underwear.
Well, he's changed.
Everything is changed on that car since we practiced, and you know, it's just hopefully some educated guesses it'll come out right.
That's what they're looking for. Now let's go to my colleague in the pit area tonight, Aaron Bates.
Thanks, Dave. Not only is the Newport Nightmare of Jimmy Owens the reigning Lucas Oil late model dirt champ, but also the defending Dart Show Me 100 champ. And Jimmy, you have got a stacked field of talented drivers behind you. What is it going to take to defend this title this year?
Well, I guess the most important thing is be the first one across the checkered flag finish line there. But, you know, they've given us a tremendous track this weekend. We've had a great track every time we've rolled out on it. A little bit different track every time we've been out there, so it's going to kind of mix the competition up a little bit. But the biggest deal is pace yourself and be there in the end.
The number 20 of Jimmy Owens, 1 win so far this season, starting pole position.
Yes, and as mentioned at the top, that one win came just 1 weekend ago. He is leading the points over Don O'Neill. Don O'Neill, the only person with more top threes, believe it or not, than Jimmy Owens. And then, of course, Scott Bloomquist is trying to close the gap as he also got off to a slow start here this season.
Yeah, Don O'Neill with 7 wins coming into this year's Show Me 100. As you can see standing there getting ready. The real deal came to play once that championship, but consistency pays off, and it's tough to beat Jimmy Owens week in and week out.
Oh, of course, anytime you can win. I mean, just like, you know, even having the 7 wins as we do right now, or this early in the season, is just remarkable, and it says a lot about the Masterbuilt team. And you know, I keep just trying to remind myself that, trying to look at the big picture here, and if things don't turn out and we don't do it this year, it'll be next year. And I mean, and it's like our team keeps getting stronger, so we're not giving up no matter what happens. It's just, I mean, hats off to the 20 bunch. Them guys are just doing an awesome job, and you know, and we keep thinking, you know, not to wish him any bad luck. You know, he eventually don't have to have something here down the road somewhere. So, but I don't know, you know, I just don't take it a race at a time and give it our all. What winds up, winds up.
And he is the only one in the top 3 in the points that has not won the Show Me 100 in his career. He'd love to add that one to the mantle. Stay with us. The start of the 20th annual Show Me 100 is next.
CBS Sports Spectacular presents the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, sponsored by General Tire. Unleash the fury. E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn. And by Canaday Natural Pet Foods. Healthy, natural nutrition for our pets.
Welcome back to Wheatland, Missouri. It's the 20th annual Dart Show Me 100 presented by Protect the Harvest here at Lucas Oil Speedway. The dirt late model cars are nothing short of exceptional. They are very technical, to say the least, and to help us out with more is Dave Argerbright.
Let's take a look at this PRC cutaway car to see what the essence is of a dirt late model. To begin with, up front here, you've got an unlimited displacement, unlimited carburetor V8 engine making between 800 and 840 horsepower, running on high octane racing gasoline. Behind that, you've got a 2-speed racing transmission. And back here, you've got a quick change rear end, which allows the crews to change the gear ratio on these cars very quickly for various tracks and track conditions. The car weighs 2,300 pounds with driver minimum. To buy this car ready to race, you're looking at about $75,000. To run the full Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Tour, you're going to need 2 race cars and 1 to 2 spares of everything you see that bolts onto the car. Add to that about $200,000 in travel costs, crew costs, maintenance, and so forth. You see, these guys race for the big bucks, but it takes the big bucks to keep an exotic race car like this on the move.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Yes, it is expensive, to say the least, to come out here and especially compete with the guys that run at a national level. It always is. And that's just the financial end of it. Then you need the knowledge to hang with those guys, and you might not ever do that. All right, so here's a look at our Geico starting grid, and Jimmy Owens, last year's champ, will lead him to the stripe alongside Don O'Neill.
You can see Scott Bloomquist, Billy Moyer, Eric Turner. How about Jimmy Mars in row number 3? The top 6 spots, very stout race car drivers. Then we go back to row number 4, the California kid, 16 years old, Tyler Reddick, alongside one of the best in Dennis Erb Jr., Wendell Wallace, former winner of this event, young driver Jonathan Davenport, Eric Wells there inside row 6, Kevin Sather. I mean, any one of these drivers can win.
Of course, Steve Francis, legendary in the dirt late model ranks, along with one Mr. Shannon Babb. Billy Moyer Jr., that is Mr. Smooth's son. Of course, Billy Moyer, legendary as well, so the young man, second-generation racer, working his way up in there. Then the 4-time champ for the series, Earl Pearson Jr., back in row 10, hoping to pick one up for the boss, Forrest Lucas, who is in the house. John Blankenship, keep your eyes on him. 3 times so far this year, he has earned Hard Charger of the Year. He can bring it from deep in the pack as they go 4 wide here on the parade lap. The fans love it. Fireworks going off. There is electricity in the air.
They do a great job at this event, this racetrack, as we get set again. $30,000 to take home the win. 100-lap feature event. Jimmy Owens, the O Show, laid down fast time in qualifying 1 day ago. His first fast time award of the year.
And once again, we will get it down to our 2 pit reporters for some final stories, and we'll kick things off with Dave Argerbright. Dave?
Guys, the key to this race tonight is going to be the surface itself. Throughout the winter, 100 new truckloads of clay were brought in here, completely different racing surface. It's very slippery, very different from last year. The winner of tonight's race is going to be the guy who reads and figures out this surface better than everybody else.
Walking around the pits, the general consensus is that tire selection tonight is going to be key. Lucas Oil's implemented a hard compound tire for this event, which means it's going to resemble driving on ice. As the night goes on, more rubber is going to lay on the track, and rubber to rubber equals more traction. The teams are confident that these tires are going to last 100 laps, but it all boils down to the driver and how abrasive this track gets. Guys?
Thanks a lot, Aaron, and of course Dave Argerbright. And this track at the end of hot laps was as smooth as I've seen, but as you mentioned before, very, very fast. And we were also chatting with Tommy Hicks, of course, crew chief for Scott Bloomquist, and he confirmed what Bloomquist said in that interview earlier. He said, man, Scott was up there at the autograph session, and he came back and changed everything on this car. He said it was a mad thrash to get it out here. As you can also see, we will go on board with a number of different cameras, including this one with Don O'Neill from Optima Batteries. So we'll give you a few different looks along the way.
There's a look at the former Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion, Scott Bloomquist, in the zero. Of course, the pill draw. Top 4 drivers would draw for their starting spots, and if you look at these 4 drivers, Jimmy Owens would draw the pole. Of course, Don O'Neill outside of row number 1. Scott Bloomquist pulls a 3. And of course, Billy Moyer, 3-time winner of the Show Me 100, but the last time he won was 1996.
They were all hoping to pull the lucky Lucas Oil bottle of stabilizer that has the numbers on the bottom. All right, the green flag flies. We are running here. The 20th Dart Show Me 100 is on. 100 laps, $30,000 to the winner. And look at that overhead shot from the Lucas Oil helicopter. It is an awesome racetrack, and each one of these cars making the better part of 850 horsepower. This place is screaming.
And we mentioned they put a lot of water on this racetrack, so it will be fast as Billy Moyer looking to the inside of Jimmy Owens. That's for the lead, leaning on the O Show, side by side off turn 4, not going to work.
They call him Mr. Smooth. Billy Moyer is definitely a bad man behind the wheel of the dirt late model. He's won pretty much anything and everything at one time or another as we go on board with him courtesy of Speedco.
Yeah, and Moyer's run a little bit higher up on the racetrack as we saw Scott Bloomquist right behind him, the zero car running in the 3rd spot. Tyler Reddick out of California, now residing in Grayson, Kentucky. The 11T car taking a peek to the inside as Bloomquist and Reddick both get by Billy Moyer.
An interesting shot there. There's only 4 bars across the windshield area there in front of Scott Bloomquist, and there's only 3 cars in front of him, and he managed to collect one of the tear-offs from those guys, so had to clean that out of the way. Not even 3 cars in front of him anymore, and here comes the 16-year-old phenom, Tyler Reddick, who has won in this series. Youngest winner in the series, youngest pole sitter in the series. I mean, the kid has so much talent.
Yeah, and Tyler Reddick so far this year, 3 podium finishes, looking for a big win tonight. We'll take a look at it one more time, and you get to see, we talked about how smooth, how fast this racetrack is. You can get your car turned, run that low line. The shortest way around right now is certainly the best on the racetrack.
Yeah, they are definitely quicker down there on the bottom. Now, I will tell you that if you can run the high line, you don't have to back the car in as hard, and you can save the tires a little more, and that might work to your advantage late in the race. But right now, the O Show, Jimmy Owens, a Newport Nightmare in the number 20 car. And yes, all of these dirt late model racers for our new fans typically have nicknames somewhere along the way if they've been in the industry a long time. So he has a couple, and one of them is the Newport Nightmare, but he's doing a great job leading this group.